The envelope arrived on a Wednesday afternoon. I was baking cookies for my granddaughter's school fundraiser when the doorbell rang. A young woman in a business suit stood on my porch, holding a clipboard. "Mrs. Margaret Chen?" she asked. I nodded, wiping flour from my hands onto my apron. She handed me a thick envelope and walked away quickly, like she didn't want to be there. Inside, the words made no sense at first. Foreclosure notice. Overdue payments. Bank seizure. My house. The house I had lived in for 30 years. The house my late husband David and I bought when our daughter was born. I read the letter 3 times. It said I owed $200,000 on a loan I never took. My hands shook. I had paid off the mortgage 15 years ago. I had the papers in my filing cabinet. The doorbell rang again. My granddaughter Lily stood there, backpack sliding off her shoulder. "Grandma, you look pale," she said. I forced a smile. I didn't want to scare her. She was only 10 years old. That night I couldn't eat dinner. Lily sat across from me, watching carefully. "Something's wrong," she said. "You always eat your vegetables." I sighed. I never could hide things from her. I told her about the letter. I kept my voice calm, but inside I felt like screaming. Lily listened quietly. Then she asked to see the letter. I hesitated. She was just a child. But she held out her hand firmly. She read slowly, her lips moving slightly. When she finished, she looked up with serious eyes. "Grandma, this says you signed papers in March. But you were in the hospital in March. You had pneumonia." My heart stopped. She was right. I had been in the hospital for 2 weeks. I couldn't have signed anything. Lily pulled out her phone. She showed me her calendar app. She had marked every day I was sick. See, March 10th through March 24th. You were in room 412. I stared at her. How did she remember such details? I shrugged. "I visited you every day after school. I wrote it down because I was scared." Suddenly, this felt less like a mistake and more like something darker. The next morning I went to First National Bank. The building was cold and unfriendly. A young man at the front desk smiled too brightly. I showed him the letter. His smile faded. He typed on his computer, frowning. "Mrs. Chen, according to our records, you took out a home equity loan in March. The payments haven't been made." I told him I never took any loan. I told him I was in the hospital. He looked uncomfortable. "Our records show your signature. And your identification was verified." I demanded to see the papers. He disappeared into a back room. When he returned, he had a folder. Inside were loan documents. My signature was at the bottom. But something felt wrong. The signature looked like mine, but not quite. The loops were too perfect, too practiced. Pointed this out. The banker looked nervous. "I'll need to speak with my supervisor," he said. While I waited, I called Lily's mother, my daughter Jessica. She was at work but answered immediately. "Mom, what's wrong?" I explained everything. She gasped. "I'm coming right now. Don't sign anything." Jessica arrived 30 minutes later. Her work badge still clipped to her shirt. She worked as a nurse at the same hospital where I had stayed. The bank supervisor appeared. He was older, with gray hair and tired eyes. He introduced himself as Mr. Patterson. He looked at the documents carefully. "Mrs. Chen, I understand your concern. But we followed all proper procedures. The notary verified your identity." Jessica leaned forward. "Which notary?" Mr. Patterson checked the papers. "Sharon Miller. She's certified and has worked with us for years." Something clicked in my memory. Sharon Miller. I knew that name. She was my neighbor's daughter. She had moved away years ago, but I remembered her. She used to babysit Jessica when Jessica was young. She knew our family. Jessica saw my expression change. "Mom." I told them about Sharon. Mr. Patterson's face went pale. "That's a conflict of interest," he muttered. "She should have recused herself." He excused himself and made a phone call in the other room. When he came back, he looked shaken. "Sharon Miller resigned last week. We can't reach her. The room suddenly felt very cold. We left the bank with copies of everything. Jessica drove me home in silence. When we arrived, Lily was sitting on the porch steps. She should have been at school. Lily, why aren't you at school? Jessica asked. Lily stood up. I had to show Grandma something. It's important. We went inside. Lily pulled out her tablet. She had been doing research. I looked up Sharon Miller, she said. She has a Facebook page. I didn't understand social media well, but Lily showed me pictures. Sharon on vacation. Sharon at restaurants. Sharon in front of expensive cars. Then Lily showed me something that made my blood run cold. Photo from 4 months ago. Sharon standing next to a man. The caption said, "Business partners for life." I recognized the man immediately. It was Robert, my late husband's brother. Robert, who had visited me often after David died. Robert, who had helped me with paperwork. Robert, who I trusted completely. Jessica grabbed my hand. Mom, are you sure? I was sure. I would never forget Robert's face. Lily scrolled through more photos. Robert and Sharon appeared together multiple times. We called the police. Officer Davis came to the house. He was young but seemed competent. I explained everything. Alone. The hospital. Sharon. Robert. He took notes carefully. When I finished, he looked serious. Mrs. Chen, this sounds like identity theft and fraud. Possibly conspiracy. He asked for copies of the documents. Lily had already organized everything into a folder. Officer Davis raised his eyebrows. This is very thorough. Who prepared this? I did, Lily said quietly. He smiled. You're quite the detective. After he left, we sat in the kitchen. None of us spoke for a while. Finally, Jessica broke the silence. Mom, we need to call Uncle Robert. Confront him. I shook my head. Not yet. If he's involved, he'll run or destroy evidence. Lily nodded in agreement. We need to be smart about this. I looked at my 10-year-old granddaughter and felt a surge of pride and sadness. She shouldn't have to deal with this. But she was handling it better than most adults would. That evening, I looked through old photos of Robert and David together. They had been close once. What happened to him? The next day, Officer Davis called. They had opened an investigation. Mrs. Chen, we contacted the notary board. Sharon Miller's certification was legitimate, but she violated ethical standards. We've issued a warrant for her arrest. That was progress, but I wanted answers. Jessica took the week off work to help me. Lily insisted on helping too, even though she should have been at school. We decided to look through my financial records. Everything. Lily sat at the dining table with her tablet, comparing bank statements. Jessica and I went through filing cabinets. Hours passed. My eyes grew tired. Then Lily gasped. Grandma, look at this. She showed me a bank statement from 6 months ago. A withdrawal for $5,000. I didn't remember that withdrawal. We checked more statements. Over the past year there were 8 withdrawals. Always $5,000. Always on the 15th of the month. $40,000 total. Felt sick. How did I not notice? Jessica looked at the statements closely. Mom, these all happened while you were at your book club. Remember? You go every third Thursday. It was true. I went to book club religiously. Someone had access to my accounts. Someone who knew my schedule. We made a list of everyone who had access to my house. It was shorter than I expected. Jessica had a key. Robert had a key. And my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, had one for emergencies. I trusted all of them. Or I thought I did. Lily suggested we check if anything else was missing. We walked through the house together. My jewelry box was untouched. My mother's pearl necklace was still there. The TV and laptop were still in place. Nothing obvious was gone. Then I remembered something. I walked to the hallway closet where I kept important documents. My heart sank. The fireproof box where I kept David's life insurance papers was missing. Jessica called Officer Davis immediately. When he arrived, we showed him everything. The missing box. The suspicious withdrawals. Timeline. He wrote everything down. Mrs. Chen, I think it's time we brought Robert in for questioning. I agreed even though it hurt. Robert was family. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about David. He had loved his brother. What would he think if he knew Robert was stealing from me? Lily knocked on my door around midnight. Can't sleep either, she asked. We sat together in the dark. She held my hand. Why do people do bad things? She asked. I didn't have a good answer. The police arrested Robert the next morning. They found him at his apartment downtown. Officer Davis called to tell me. He denied everything at first. But when we mentioned Sharon Miller, he got nervous. They were holding him for questioning. Sharon was still missing. Jessica thought we should visit him. I wasn't sure I wanted to face him. But Lily said something wise. Grandma, you need to hear his side. Even if it's lies, you need to know. She was right. We went to the police station that afternoon. Robert sat in an interview room, looking smaller than I remembered. When he saw me through the glass, he looked away. Officer Davis let us sit in the observation room. We could hear everything. The detective questioning Robert was patient but firm. Mr. Chen, we have evidence linking you to Sharon Miller. We have photos. We have witness statements. We have financial records. Robert said nothing. The detective continued. We know about the loan. We know about the withdrawals. We know you had access to Mrs. Chen's home. Finally Robert spoke. His voice was quiet. I needed money. My heart broke a little. For what? The detective asked. Robert looked up. Gambling debts. I owed dangerous people. I thought Margaret would never notice. She's old. She's forgetful. I felt Jessica's hand on my shoulder. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She's not forgetful, Lily whispered. She remembers everything. The detective pressed further. Tell us about Sharon Miller. Robert sighed. I met Sharon at a casino. She was a notary. When she found out Margaret was my sister-in-law, she had an idea. My stomach turned. What idea? The detective asked. Sharon said we could take out a loan using Margaret's house. She could fake the verification. We'd split the money. Margaret would never know until it was too late. The detective leaned forward. Too late for what? Robert looked directly at the mirror, like he knew I was watching. Until she lost the house. Then I would buy it cheap at auction. Sell it for profit. I stood up quickly. Jessica caught me before I fell. He planned to steal my home. The home David and I built together. Officer Davis came in. Mrs. Chen, I'm sorry you had to hear that. I wiped my eyes. I needed to hear it. Lily looked at Robert through the glass. He's not family anymore, she said quietly. She was right. Family doesn't betray you like this. The next week was a blur of lawyers and paperwork. Jessica helped me find a good attorney named Mr. Howard. He was older, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Mrs. Chen, you have a strong case, he said. The bank should never have processed that loan. The notary committed fraud. And Robert's confession is on record. I felt relief but also exhaustion. Mr. Howard filed motions to void the loan. He contacted the bank's legal department. Meanwhile, the police found Sharon Miller. She was arrested at the airport trying to fly to Mexico. Officer Davis said she had $50,000 in cash in her luggage. My money. Robert's money. Other people's money too, they suspected. Lily had been quiet for days. I worried about her. One afternoon, I found her in the backyard, sitting under the oak tree where David used to push her on the swing. Are you okay, sweetheart? Yes. She looked up. I'm angry, Grandma. Uncle Robert was supposed to love you. How could he do this? I sat beside her. Sometimes people make terrible choices. It doesn't mean we made a mistake trusting them. It means they made a mistake breaking our trust. She leaned against me. I won't forget this. I kissed her forehead. I know. But don't let it make you afraid to trust good people. She nodded, but I could tell she was changed. We all were. A month later, we had our first court hearing. The bank's lawyers argued they followed proper procedures. Mr. Howard argued they failed basic security checks. Mrs. Chen was hospitalized when these documents were supposedly signed. Medical records prove it. The judge listened carefully. She was a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes. When it was my turn to speak, my voice shook. But I told the truth. I explained how Robert had access to my home, how Sharon had known our family, how they planned everything while I trusted them. Lily testified too. She told the judge about finding the timeline, about checking the dates, about organizing the evidence. The judge looked impressed. "Young lady, you've done remarkable work." Lily spoke clearly. "My grandma taught me to pay attention, to remember details. She taught me that truth matters." The judge nodded slowly. After several hours, she made her ruling. The loan was void. The bank had failed in their duty of care. My house was safe. I cried in the courtroom. Jessica hugged me. Lily held both our hands. Outside, reporters waited. Apparently, our case had attracted attention. Mr. Howard handled them. Mrs. Chen's ordeal shows why banks must verify identities carefully. Why families must watch for financial abuse of elderly relatives. I didn't feel elderly, but I understood his point. Robert pleaded guilty to fraud and identity theft. He received 5 years in prison. Sharon Miller faced multiple charges. The investigation found she had done this before to other families. She got 10 years. I felt no joy in their sentences, just sadness. David's brother was gone. Not dead, but lost to his own greed. The bank settled with me out of court. They paid damages for their failure to protect me. It was enough money to secure my future. Maybe even Lily's college fund. Jessica suggested I sell the house. "Too many bad memories now, Mom." But I refused. David and I chose every paint color. We planted every flower in the garden. Robert didn't get to take that from me. Instead, I decided to do something meaningful with the settlement money. I contacted a lawyer about starting a foundation. Something to help other seniors facing financial fraud. Mr. Howard loved the idea. "Mrs. Chen, you could prevent this from happening to others." Lily's eyes lit up. "Can I help?" Smiled. "I'm counting on it." We spent weeks planning. Jessica helped with paperwork. Lily designed flyers and made social media posts. We called it the David Chen Protection Fund, named after my late husband. The goal was simple: educate seniors about financial fraud, provide free legal consultations, create awareness. 6 months after the court case ended, we opened a small office downtown. It was just 2 rooms, but it felt like hope. Our first client was a woman named Dorothy. She was 83 and had received suspicious calls about her bank account. Lily sat with her taking notes. Dorothy seemed comforted by Lily's presence. "My granddaughter is your age," Dorothy said. "She lives far away. I miss her." Lily smiled gently. "I'm here to help you, Mrs. Dorothy." We connected Dorothy with a lawyer. The calls were a scam. We helped her secure her accounts. She cried when she left. "Thank you for believing me. My son said I was just confused." More clients came. Some had been scammed by family members, others by strangers. All of them felt alone and scared. I understood that feeling now. Jessica volunteered on weekends. She taught classes about recognizing warning signs. Lily created simple checklists. "Things to watch for," she called them. Our little foundation grew. Local news covered our story. More volunteers joined. One day, a woman brought her teenage son. "I want him to learn from you," she said to Lily. "I want him to understand why protecting our elders matters." Lily shook the boy's hand seriously. "It's important work," she said. "Want to help organize our files?" He nodded eagerly. I watched them work together and felt proud. This was David's legacy now. Protection, truth, family. A year passed quickly. The foundation helped over 200 families. We recovered millions of dollars in fraud cases. We prevented countless more scams. Lily turned 11. She was taller now, more confident, but still the same thoughtful girl. For her birthday, I gave her a special gift. A journal with her name engraved on the cover. "For all your detective work," I said. She hugged me tightly. "I couldn't have done it without you, Grandma." That wasn't true. She had saved me. But I let her believe we were a team. 'Cause we were. Jessica got promoted at the hospital. She said it was because she learned to pay attention to details. "I learned that from watching Lily," she admitted. "And from watching this whole nightmare." We had grown closer through the crisis. Jessica visited more often. We talked about real things now, not just pleasantries. One evening, the three of us sat on the porch. It was the same porch where I had received that terrible envelope. But it felt different now. Reclaimed. "Do you ever think about Uncle Robert?" Jessica asked quietly. He nodded. "Sometimes. I wonder if he regrets it." Lily spoke up. "I got a letter from him. Last week." We both stared at her. "What did it say?" Yes. She pulled a folded paper from her pocket. "He apologized. He said he was ashamed. He asked me to tell you he's sorry." I read Robert's letter that night. His handwriting was shaky, uncertain. He wrote about his gambling addiction, about the debts, about the fear. He wrote that he convinced himself I would be fine, that I had plenty, that it wasn't really stealing. But then he saw Lily testify in court, heard her describe the timeline, saw her defend me with such clarity. "That's when I understood what I really did," he wrote. "I didn't just steal money. I stole trust. I stole peace. I stole from someone who only showed me love." He didn't ask for forgiveness. He just said he was sorry. I folded the letter carefully. Part of me wanted to write back. Part of me wanted to forget him completely. Lily found me at the kitchen table the next morning. "Are you going to respond?" I shook my head. "Not yet. Maybe someday. But not yet." She nodded. "That's fair." Later that week, we had a staff meeting at the foundation. We now had 5 volunteers and a part-time lawyer. One volunteer, a retired teacher named Mr. Allen, had an idea. We should create a program for kids. Teach them to spot financial abuse. They're often the first to notice. Everyone agreed. Lily especially. We developed a curriculum. Simple lessons about money, trust, and safety. Lily helped test it with her classmates. They loved it. Soon schools started inviting us to present. Lily spoke at assemblies. She told her story carefully and bravely. The foundation celebrated its 2nd anniversary. We had helped over 500 families now. Local politicians noticed. They invited me to speak at City Council about elder fraud. I was nervous, but Lily coached me. "Just tell the truth, Grandma. Like you taught me." At City Hall, I stood at the podium. Dozens of people watched. I told my story. Alone. The betrayal. The fear. But I also told them about Lily. About paying attention. About keeping records. About speaking up. "My granddaughter saved my life," I said. "Not because she's special, but because she was paying attention when others weren't." The council listened. They passed a resolution supporting elder fraud education in schools. It was a small victory, but it mattered. After the meeting, a woman approached me. She was crying. "My mother lost everything to a scam last year," she said. "If only someone had taught me the warning signs." I gave her our foundation's card. "Come see us. Maybe we can help others, even if we couldn't help your mother." She hugged me. Strangers becoming connected through shared pain. That night, I updated David's photo on my nightstand. I told him about the council meeting. "We're making a difference," I whispered. "Lily and me. We're protecting people." I like to think he was proud. Lily knocked and came in. "Talking to Grandpa again." Smiled. "Always." She sat on the bed. "Do you think he'd be proud of me?" "Beyond measure," I said firmly. Jessica announced she was dating someone. His name was Marcus. He was a physical therapist at the hospital. I want you both to meet him, she said nervously. We had dinner at my house. Marcus was kind and funny. He asked Lily about school and listened to her answers. He asked me about the foundation and seemed genuinely interested. After dinner, Lily whispered to me, I like him. He's nice. Coming from her, that was high praise. Jessica glowed with happiness. After everything we'd been through, seeing her happy felt like a reward. Marcus started joining us for Sunday dinners. He never acted like an outsider. He just fit. One Sunday, he asked Lily about the court case. Your mom says you helped catch the bad guys. Lily shrugged. I just paid attention. Marcus looked at her seriously. That's a superpower, you know. Most people don't pay attention. They miss important things. Lily smiled. It was rare to see adults understand her. The foundation continued growing. We hired a full-time director, a woman named Patricia who had worked in social services. She brought new energy and ideas. We expanded to 3 rooms. We started a hotline. Lily volunteered after school, answering phones and organizing files. One day Patricia pulled me aside. Margaret, have you considered writing a book? Your story could help thousands. I hadn't thought about it. Writing seemed hard. But that night I opened my laptop and started typing. Writing the book took 6 months. Lily helped me remember details. Jessica read drafts and made suggestions. We titled it Stolen Trust: How My Granddaughter Saved My Life. Mr. Howard connected me with a publisher. They loved it. This is exactly what people need to read, the editor said. Real stories. Real lessons. The book released the following spring. We had a launch party at the foundation. Over 100 people came. Clients we'd helped. Volunteers. Friends. Lily stood next to me as I signed copies. She signed too, adding little notes. Stay aware, she wrote. Trust your instincts. Reviews came in. Some people said it was inspiring. Others said it opened their eyes. A few critics said I was exploiting trauma. It hurt. But then letters arrived. From readers across the country. Your book saved my mother from a scam. I recognized the warning signs because of your story. Thank you for speaking up. Those letters made everything worthwhile. The book sales funded the foundation for another year. We opened a second location in a neighboring city. Robert wrote again from prison. He said he read the book. Said it helped him understand the full impact of his choices. I still didn't write back. Maybe I would someday. Maybe I wouldn't. Lily asked if I would ever forgive him. I told her I already had, in my own way. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, I explained. It means choosing not to let it poison you. 3 years after that terrible Wednesday, I stood in the backyard watching Lily push younger kids on the swing. We were hosting a foundation fundraiser. Families filled the yard. Kids played. Adults talked. Jessica and Marcus stood together. His arm around her shoulders. They were getting married next month. Lily had grown so much. She was 13 now, confident and kind. She caught my eye and waved. I waved back. Someone asked me if I ever regretted fighting back. If it would have been easier to just accept the loss and move on. Thought about it. Really thought about it. Then I looked at Lily. Jessica. At all the families we'd helped. No, I said. Fighting back gave me purpose. It turned the worst moment of my life into something meaningful. The person nodded and walked away. As the sun set, I stood under David's oak tree. The same tree where Lily once asked why people do bad things. I still didn't have a perfect answer. But I had learned something important. Bad things happen. People disappoint us. Trust gets broken. But good people respond. They pay attention. They speak up. They protect each other. Lily appeared beside me. Good party, Grandma. The best, I agreed. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I'm glad we didn't give up. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Looking at my house, my family, my foundation, I felt grateful. Not for the betrayal, but for what came after. For the strength I didn't know I had. For the granddaughter who saw what others missed. For the chance to turn pain into protection. Betrayal into bravery. They tried to steal my life. But they failed. 'Cause I had Lily. In truth. And the stubborn refusal to disappear quietly.